kids, what time is it?
Hey guys, it's Mr. Mark here. Well, actually, I should just say Chef Mark. For our cooking activity today, we're going to be making pudding pops and juice pops. So we're actually going to do step by step. If you do not have any pudding cups like how we have here, I'm actually going to show you guys on how to make instant pudding. Okay, so let's get started. All right, so what we're going to be needing for our instant pudding is our instant pudding mix. You don't need the Jello brand. It can be any type of pudding mix brand. We need our whisk. We need some milk, about 3 cups of milk, and then also a bowl to mix the milk and the mix, all right? So I just have this out here, so if you already have pudding like this at home, then you're all set. You can just skip this step and jump on to the next step. But I'll show you guys step by step how to do the mix, how to make the mix. So we're gonna open this up here. I just have some gloves on, just making sure I'm not making too much of a mess with my hands and not putting my hands in here as well too. So I have some gloves on. So this is actually chocolate pudding mix. For those of you out there that like chocolate. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna keep that set in there. Now I have my measuring cup. It says 3 cups, so I'm gonna make sure these cartons of milk can measure up to as much milk as we need. All right, so that's about a cup there. Probably just need one more. Yep. And then last one. All right, that's 3 cups there. And now what you're gonna do is we're gonna pour it in. And then we're gonna start mixing. Now you have to mix for about, I wanna say, 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes. Probably even longer if you wanna give it that thick, that consistency of the pudding. So it's not too liquidy. You might even have to make sure that it kind of stays set as well after the after 1.5 minutes or 2 to kind of let it harden and cool. You can even put it in the fridge as well too if you like. Let's see, we'll mix that up a little bit. So it's already getting that thick coating already. All right, gonna keep mixing, making sure that's getting in there. We're getting. Oh, look at that chocolate! Oh man, I bet for those of you that like chocolate are loving this picture right now. Now it's already getting that thickness already. All right, so right after this, you might, because it's nice and mixed well too, so the next step to do is actually take this and you're gonna put it in the fridge so it can kind of cool down and it can kind of harden a little bit. So we'll put that in the fridge. And then our next step is actually making our pudding cups. So that's what we're gonna do right now. And since we already have the pudding cups already pre-made, thanks to some of the snack packs that we have here. So we'll actually put vanilla and chocolate. We'll do both. All right. So what we're gonna use is a small little solo cup like this. This is actually about 3 ounces, so that's all you kind of need. If you want something bigger to kind of fill up all the pudding that you have in here and kind of get all the pudding that you want, then you can use a bigger cup, most definitely. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna put a chocolate one. I know Miss Danny likes chocolate, so maybe I'll make Miss Danny the chocolate one and then I'll have the vanilla one for myself. So we're gonna make sure we put as much chocolate in there. All right. Now, what we wanna do is make sure there's no air bubbles. We don't want any air inside there because we wanna make sure it's nice and flat. And I'm just using a popsicle stick. If you have popsicle sticks at home, you can use something just like this. If you don't, you can use toothpicks. And I feel like that's what we can use. We'll use some toothpicks. All right, so that's our chocolate. And then we're gonna do our vanilla. That one's for me. And it's such an easy make thing. Kind of like ice cream. Once when you freeze it up, it definitely tastes like that. It has that ice cream taste to it. And it's frozen. I love anything that has to do with like pops or popsicles, anything. All right, so that one is already set too. And it's good to kind of mix it in there. Like I said, make sure the air bubbles are not all the way at the bottom. So when your pudding pops are frozen, you don't have any bubbles, and it's kind of easier to kind of pull out of the cup when they're frozen. So last step that we're gonna do is our toothpicks, and we're gonna stick them right in the middle. I wouldn't stick them out too in, especially if you are using a bigger cup, or like I said, you can use the pudding pop or the popsicles, and you can. It'll probably be easier to grab too once when they're frozen. But I think these are all set. I think they look really good, and I'm excited to put them down in the freezer. So it might take about, I want to say, about 3 to 4 hours. It might take about 3 to 4 hours to kind of get frozen and get that thick consistency, so it's not falling apart when you're pulling out of the cup. So give it about 3 to 4 hours so you guys can get that popsicle taste, and then once you pull it out, it's not hard to pull out. So all right, so next up we have is our juice pops. So what we're gonna be using is blue Hawaiian Punch, and obviously it has to be blue because, you know, we're at the Boys and Girls Club, everything is blue here. So we're gonna use some blue juice. So we're gonna use the same exact cup. It's a 3-ounce cup. Like I said, if you want something bigger, I know a lot of you like bigger ice pops, and you know, it lasts just a little bit more while you're eating them. But we're just gonna go back to the 3-ounce ones. So if you'd like, just to make less of a spill, you can kind of bring it over more to the corner, or if you want, you can use a funnel so you're not making too much of a mess. But I'm just gonna bring it back just a little bit so I'm not spilling it over too much. I'm gonna put a little bit of juice, just enough about right there. You don't wanna kind of fill it up too much because when it does freeze, it does just expand just a little bit, so you don't want it popping out of the cup when it's frozen. So this time you can use toothpicks, but this time we're actually gonna use popsicle sticks. So we're gonna add our popsicle stick on here, and it will be sideways. Another way, if you don't want it sideways, or you know, it can stick straight up. Either way, it's gonna come out the way you want it. But you can also use this for your pudding pops. So what you're gonna want to do, and especially if you're making more than one pudding pop, this would be the best way to kind of keep it in place while they're freezing. So this is Saran wrap. And this could be anywhere. You can buy this anywhere. Walmart, anywhere that has Saran, or any supermarket, I should say. Whoop, just spilled a little bit. And you're gonna poke it right through. So if I'm making more, we can kind of add more popsicle sticks right under this, and it'll kind of be like a small tray. And you can even get a tray to kind of hold all of them together. But what it does is it kind of keeps the popsicle stick in place while it's frozen. So then it's not moved around, it's not falling out or anything when the juice expands inside the freezer. So we're gonna pop that one in too. I can't wait to eat that one. And there you go. So, very easy. This one's actually much simpler too than the pudding. And the pudding is actually the consistency. Like I said, if you don't have pudding in your fridge, you can get the pudding mix and just instantly make it. But these are both really cool things, especially now it's getting hot. It's almost summertime. This is the way to go right now. If you don't have any popsicles that you can get in the supermarket, these are homemade ones right here. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and we'll see you guys soon, okay?